and might continue to jump in as we go along. I just want to welcome you all, whether it's this morning, this afternoon, wherever you might be watching from. I'll get into proper introductions of myself in a moment. But yeah, I wanted to welcome you to our Patagonia, the Land of the Titans, a Dinosaur Trips expedition preview presentation. Little introduction to myself quickly as we get started here. My name is Zach Van Oss. I am the founder and director of Dinosaur Trips. So this company is my baby. This trip is a long time dream of mine, and we'll get into all those details as we go through. But I started my career in the travel industry as a travel journalist. That's how I got going on things. I've been in the industry for 15 plus years now. I've worked media, I've worked at consultancies, I've worked with companies, small companies like Dinosaur Trips all throughout my career, tour designers, operators, travel agents, tourism offices, you name it. I've probably worked with them across the travel spectrum. Um, and yeah, I view travel as a great way to experience the world, obviously, and a great way to tell stories about the world. And paleontology is an excellent avenue in. And I'm joined today, co-host with me on this webinar by Rich Heller of Miru Adventures. Rich, the good folks at Miru are our on-the-ground partners with many of the things that we do. We've got a trip going today, or rather tomorrow, in the UK, Jurassic Coast. The good people at Miru have helped to put that together as well, and they've got this trip well designed for us. As we get out, we'll get into all the details. But yeah, I want to give Rich a chance to introduce himself to you all this morning as we're going to be going through this presentation. You're on mute, Rich.
First, I have to unmute myself. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard Heller, or Rich Heller. I'm the managing director of Miru Adventures, and yeah, really excited to speak to you about the Patagonia Paleontology Trail. Miru Adventures was a small group adventure tour company born out of the pandemic by a team of us who've worked together in the past. We've done expeditions around the world. And I was down in Patagonia last year in March to research this specific trip. So it was a real treat to go through all my photos and relive my experience that I had going through this area. That picture of me there is with the one of the bones of the Patagotitan, which is one of the most famous, what's probably the most famous dinosaur fossils that you will see on this program. But yeah, I'm really excited to speak through this trip with you, and yeah, looking forward to answering any questions you may have afterwards.
Thank you, Rich. All right, so now that you've met Rich and myself, let's talk about what I'm sure a few of you have signed up for, the Paleo Prize Pack. You have to be in attendance, so a good chance of winning. At the moment, you got to be in attendance of this webinar to win our Paleo Prize Pack. That includes the Fossil Keeper's Treasure. That's signed by author Amy Atwater. Amy is currently leading our UK In Mary Anning's Footsteps Jurassic Coast trip. I was just messaging with her this morning. She's landed in London and getting ready to lead that trip, which officially starts tomorrow. And she's written this book, The Fossil Keeper's Treasure. And so the winner of the prize pack will get a copy of that signed. Great for kids. It's a very tactile book, as you can see on the cover there, with amazing fossils to touch. So if there's any kids in your life who are getting into dinosaurs, or you're trying to get them into dinosaurs, like I'm doing with my nieces, a great book for that. You get $500 off a future Dinosaur Trips adventure. And then you'll also get this mug, which I'm also holding here. And you can see in my little picture, a Dinosaur Trips mug, which we'll send your way. Great way to start your day. So that's the prize pack. If we could just ask you to share your email address in a direct message. I mean, you can share it with the whole group in the messaging. You see there's an option to message in Zoom in the chat. You can direct message that to myself so that you'll be in the draw for that. Or if you just want to share it in the general chat, but it's up to you. If you want to keep your email private, very understandable. Just share that direct in the chat. All right, so that's the prize pack. We'll be doing a draw for that after the webinar is completed. If you're watching a recording of this webinar, sorry, live attendees only are have the option of winning the prize. So All right, let's get into things here. So, what is Dinosaur Trips? For those of you who have signed up and but aren't really sure what this company is, what this travel organization does, as I was saying, Dinosaur Trips was born from a love of paleontology, of remarkable landscapes, and the thrill of following ancient footsteps one way or another. So, we create trips that blend scientific curiosity, and I think that's something a lot of our travelers have in common is a curiosity. We combine that with real-world adventure. And it's designed for people who'd rather brush sandstone off a titanosaur rather than lounge on a beach resort and wonder what's the next buffet around. Though, that has its time and place, and I'm not necessarily against the all-inclusive drop here and there. But we get out there and we do true discovery. So our experiences are led by working paleontologists and local experts. Those of you who have traveled us before know all about that, and those of you who will be joining us for future Patagonia trip, you'll get to see what that's all about. And our trip's going to take you to the front lines of paleontology. We'll get through into that today, how we do that from fossil-rich badlands, active dig sites, research labs. It's places where the science is happening and the Earth is still giving up its secrets. So, welcome to Dinosaur Trips. This is your first introduction to what it is that we do. The next question you might have is why Dinosaur Trips? Though, if you're here for this webinar, evidently you have some inclination towards paleontology or dinosaurs or just discovery in general. But, what I like to tell people, the why of Dinosaur Trips is because the story of dinosaurs is an exploration of prehistory. It's an exploration of modern history, exploration of culture, cutting edge science and research. It all comes together under the realm of paleontology and what Dinosaur Trips is doing, because it's not just prehistory and the fossils themselves that we take a look at. It's the modern history of paleontology. If you know the history of paleontology, much the modern history, what you'll find is there's a lot of swashbuckling going on in those early days of paleontology. It's not like it is now, where it's mostly peaceful and respectful, if still competitive, certainly. But there's a very rich human history in paleontology as well. There's deep cultural histories. Get a chance to see that every destination we go to kind of approaches paleontology, or at least historically has approached paleontology in very different ways. When we're out in Alberta, for instance, you learn about the history of how the indigenous people perceived these bones they were finding all over. And we'll get into that in Patagonia, and every destination brings its own cultural history to the discovery of giant bones or small bones, or, just a history that they've been uncovering in the stories that we tell ourselves. And of course, dinosaurs, I think, are one of the ultimate mysteries. It's the ultimate adventure, right? They lived hundreds of millions of years ago, but they still fuel our imagination. They spark scientific breakthroughs, and they're still changing the way we see life on Earth today. And, my pitch generally is, what other travel experience can give you the chance to actually discover something that no living being has witnessed for millions of years? Having been in the travel industry, worked on the marketing and branding side of things and the PR side of things for a lot of years now, and we're all one thing, kind of a buzzword or a strong word in the tourism industry is discovery, because we often travel to discover things, largely about ourselves or experience new things. But with Dinosaur Trips, you actually get a chance to discover something. As we'll be out in the Badlands across Patagonia looking for fossils, this is your opportunity to be the one who spots something that nobody, no human, no living thing has seen for 100 million years potentially. And I think that's pretty remarkable. And you get to take with you a story very few people can tell. I won't lie, there's some good bragging rights that come along with joining Dinosaur Trips. So not many people have ever done a dinosaur dig or done a paleontology trail or had the opportunity to go behind the scenes at a museum like we were going to do at MEF or MEF when we're down in Trelu. So, this is an opportunity at dinner parties, on your Instagram, however it is you like to show off the exclusive experience you're doing, and have a story for life. I mean, it's the kind of tale you might not talk about being in line at the all-inclusive buffet, unless something horrible happens, I suppose, to your grandkids one day. But I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell the story of being on the Patagonian Paleontology Trail with some, and people will always marvel at that. I've been marveling at the idea of exploring the Badlands and finding dinosaur bones since I was a kid, and it doesn't go away. Speaking of children, a lot of people say, but aren't dinosaurs kind of for kids? To which I say, no, they are not. I understand why. There's a fascination, particularly from children, with dinosaurs. And I think to some degree, it's because kids have a remarkable capacity for imagination and wonder. And regardless of who you are, to some degree, you lose that as you age. It happens to all of us. I mean, on my own paleontology interest journey, I was very interested as a kid. Obviously, I was a dinosaur kid if I started this company. I was a teenager in my 20s, it faded a lot. And it came back only kind of in my late 20s, early 30s, and is back into full intensity now. But as we grow up, we do tend to lose perhaps a little bit of this wonder and this capacity for imagination, which dinosaurs ask of you. Paleontology asks you to, you're not getting to study or look at things as they are in the world now. You're having to put out some imagination, put some effort into it. But I think that's something that our adventures really unlock for travelers is this opportunity to feel like a kid again, to give yourself that sense of wonder, that sense of imagination, that sense of discovery because it's happening all the time. And when you're on one of these expeditions with us, it really unlocks that. If you haven't been able to unlock that in yourself, or not as much as you would like, not given as many opportunities as you would like to feel like a kid again, and this wonder of discovery, it's really fun. And I think that one of the things that Dinosaur Trips is able to do well is get into that world and explain it to you at any level. So most of us, if you've got a kid in your life who's really into paleontology, they probably know more about dinosaurs than you, and that's okay. Dinosaur Trips, no matter your level of interest, obsession, or if you're just sticking your toe in the water for the first time, we'll meet you where you're at. Absolutely. And our experts are great at that. So if you're like, I don't even know the difference between the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. I don't know what those are. That's fine. It's all there for you. So whether you're just got the childlike wonder or you're all in on this, you're going to get a lot out of it. So way I like to talk about the expeditions that we do, largely to people who maybe aren't on board right off. Not that, when I talk to people about this company, they're generally pretty interested. It's an intriguing idea at the very least. But maybe they say to themselves, as I was just kind of saying, aren't dinosaurs for kids? Or I don't know much about them. I don't have, is that going to be of interest to me? And I say, take for a second, consider the Mona Lisa, which I had the chance to visit just last year. Surrounded by people, at all times, hundreds and hundreds of people jammed up trying to get a picture of it. What percentage of those people have an art history major or know much about art or painting at all? Probably very few, but they all flock to it. Why? Because it's one of one. It's iconic. It's an important piece of history. We know that. It tells a story, but it's also shockingly small. Compare that to Sue the T-Rex. Now, Sue the T-Rex, for those who don't know, this is a fantastic T-Rex that they have in Chicago at their Natural History Museum. Just like the Mona Lisa, it's one of one, and it's an important piece of history. Sue is a cultural icon. It tells a story, and unlike the Mona Lisa, when you get to Sue the T-Rex, shockingly big. Not disappointingly tiny. So I say all that a little bit in jest, but also honestly, like these are really special pieces, these fossils that we're going to come across. Some of them, just icons of natural history. And so I think it's strange a little bit that there's some perception out there still that something like the Mona Lisa, which most people in your life could not talk about for more than 5 minutes with any great knowledge, people will flock to see. And, paleontologists pushed a little bit to the side of the category of for kids or just not of general interest. So, if you're trying to convince a significant other to join you on a dinosaur trip, or you're a travel agent and you've got some clients who aren't sure if this is for them, that's one way I like to kind of present it to folks is these are really special, unique pieces, and there's a reason they're in museums, and they certainly are worthy, no matter what age you are, of your time and interest, and they really capture something. So now that we've sort of answered why dinosaurs, why dinosaur trips, let's talk about the destination that we're focusing on today. Why Patagonia? For me, I don't need much more explanation than that. As I said, I've been in this industry for a long time now, and Patagonia is the one that people talk to in the industry like, man, that's a spot. It's gorgeous. It's just unbelievable. It's really just kind of been calling out to me for a long time. I worked with a lot of companies that do South America travel, and this has just been a destination that has been tantalizing to put together this kind of trip for a long, long time. And so, just a quick Patagonia quick facts for you, for those of you who don't know much about it. And don't worry, we'll get into the depths of it as we go through our itinerary here today. But it's the southernmost region of South America, down there at the bottom of the earth, just before you get to Antarctica. It spans both Argentina and Chile, though on this expedition, we will just be doing the Argentinian portion. Covers over 1 million square kilometers, so it's actually bigger than Texas and California combined. It's a huge space. And what's it known for? It's vast steppe landscapes, it's towering Andes, the glaciers, the deserts, and of course, dinosaur fossil beds. It's wild, it's remote, and it's one of the most sparsely populated regions on the planet. It's legendary for its raw beauty, its extreme weather, wide open skies, and a little bit of a fun fact, as you know, this expedition is called the Land of the Titans because of the titanosaurs are largely the kind of the Mona Lisa of what we'll be looking at when we get down there. But originally, when the first Europeans came over and were exploring around Patagonia, they believed that there was this ancient mythical race of giant humans that lived in the area. They called the Patagones, and that's where the name, excuse me, that's where the name Patagonia comes from. So since the beginning of Europeans having a look around and people visiting the area who are not indigenous to the area, there's been myth of giants that live here. And you know what? While they weren't giant humans, they weren't that far off. There were giants, the giantest of all animals to ever roam the earth that called Patagonia home once upon a time. From paleontological POV, why Patagonia? As I just said, it's the home of the Titans. These are dinosaurs like the Argentinosaurus, the Patagotitan, which we will get more into. Other record-breaking giants were discovered here. Just massive, massive creatures. Most of the fossils that we'll be seeing in the museums and looking for as we hit the Patagonian Paleontology Trail are from the Cretaceous. That's the final period of the age of the dinosaurs. That's a layer of rocks about 100 million years old. So they're rich with sauropods. Those are the long necks ones, carnivores, eggs, footprints. Got a whole variety of things have been discovered in Patagonia. It's still wild, still underexplored. So this vast, remote, largely untouched terrain means a lot of discoveries are still being made. The Patagotitan mayorum, the beast of the beast, was just discovered 15 years ago. And there's always potential for more discoveries. Of course, ideal conditions for fossil preservation. Those of you that will be joining us on this expedition will see that once we get out into the Patagonian Paleontology Trail. Very dry climate, sparse vegetation, exposed rock. Those are the ideal conditions for finding fossils anywhere on Earth. A lot of the places the Dinosaur Trips goes, we find ourselves in Badlands exploring. And of course, we'll also explore greener spaces in cities like Buenos Aires, but when we're on the Paleontology Trail, it's very much this Badland kind of destination. And science in progress. As I said, ongoing excavations are happening, research is happening. We'll be getting to see that up close and personal when we get down there to MEF. And it's rewriting always what we know about dinosaur evolution, extinction, and global ecosystems. The size of these Patagotitans that they found, for instance, completely reimagined just how big dinosaurs can get. I mean, we kind of thought we were maxed out to some degree, but no, new discoveries are constantly pushing our understanding of what can be done. So meet the Patagotitan mayorum. He's one of the largest dinosaurs ever discovered. Of course, with everything in paleontology and science in general, there's some debate over whether or not it's truly the largest dinosaur. But for the sake of our legend here, we're saying this is. And we'll let science prove it wrong or correct as time goes on. So just a few of your back of the baseball card facts about the Patagotitan mayorum there. 37 meters, it's 121 feet long, and potentially 69, 70 tons. I mean, this is an absolute beast of a creature. And we will be seeing the skeleton of the Patagotitan on Halloween. If you've checked out the brochure yet, you'll see that. So a little more on the discovery. It was discovered that the lower femur fragment was discovered by a farm worker, Aurelio Hernandez, near La Flecha, Argentina in 2010. That's one thing, if you're new to paleontology or the idea of it, the assumption is always paleontologists must discover most fossils and most dinosaurs. Not really. Paleontologists come in oftentimes once the initial discovery has been made, as was the case with this giant femur, usually, or not usually, I guess that's, but often discovered by farmers or field workers, people working in landscaping, things like that. People are digging and they come across these things. In this case, it was a farmer, paleontologist who led this trip, or this excavation were Jose Luis Carbellido and Diego Pol. And so they pulled over 200 fossils out of this area, 130 sauropod bones. Again, the sauropod's the long next one, 57 theropod teeth. Those are the ones, two legs, generally carnivores. So a lot of their teeth are found around these large bones of the plant-eating dinosaurs because they'd be scavenged after they died. And so the rock layers for that one date about 101.62 million years ago, approximately. So just a massive time scale that we're dealing with. And some recent Patagonian paleo discoveries here. The Chadietitan calvoi. I apologize. I am not a paleontologist. I probably should have said off the top. I'm, as I say, in the travel industry, so sometimes I struggle with the pronunciations. That's okay. You're welcome to struggle with them too, or tell me how to say it better if I'm messing it up. I'm often just learning with you guys in here. So again, Diego Pol and his team at MEF, or he was at MEF at the time, were behind that discovery. So that one's not quite as big as the Patagotitan, but again, a long-necked one that lived right at the end of the Cretaceous period. Basically, was one of these dinosaurs that would have witnessed the end of the age of the dinosaurs. And so, this was just announced. And if you're subscribed to the Dinosaur Trips newsletter, the Dinosaur Trips Dispatch, you would have read about this discovery in last month's Intro to Dino 101. Once a month, we send out a newsletter that gives you a little intro to the, sorry, not Intro to Dino. That's another newsletter we send out, but the It's a Great Day for Dinosaur News newsletter, which we send out once a month as well. That's the one with new discoveries from the world. And this was just last month that we were talking about this one. So always new discoveries. There could be new discoveries between now and the time that we get down there in October. Speaking of that, that takes us into probably the reason many of you are here today, our day-by-day breakdown of the itinerary. We'll be bringing Rich back in here now as we dive into the itinerary Patagonia, the land of the Titans, from October 27th to November 8th of this year, 13 days. Join me and the gang that we've already got signed up, kind of breaking it down into four big pieces. Our Buenos Aires piece, you'll be arriving in Buenos Aires. Then we head off to a very wildlife part of the adventure in the Peninsula Valdez. Then we hit for 4 days in the middle there, the Patagonian Paleontology Trail. Very excited about that. I think that's kind of self-described there. And then it's off to Bariloche to finish off our expedition in style. So those are the four big pieces of the 13-day adventure. Let's get right into it. Here's the map of where we will be traveling on this expedition. So as I mentioned, and if you're following along in your own brochure at home, we start in Buenos Aires. Very excited that. From Buenos Aires, we'll fly down to Puerto Madryn and visit Peninsula Valdez. You see, as we head across and make our way westward across Patagonia. That's the Patagonian Paleontology Trail, those destinations in the middle there, before finishing up, as I mentioned, in Bariloche. So we'll be spending some days on the road throughout this expedition as we hit the Patagonian Paleontology Trail, and there's a flight in there as well, but also some time for whale watching and penguin colonies and all that. We'll get into that as we go through the itinerary here. So, as I mentioned, your arrival in Buenos Aires. Rich, why don't you jump back in and take us through the itinerary here?
Perfect. Thank you, Zach. So this trip has been designed to take advantage and enjoy all of the wonders that Argentina has to offer. So a trip to Argentina would not be complete without spending some time in Buenos Aires, the capital, once known as the Paris of the Americas. It's a city unto itself and just a wonderful place to spend a bit of time. So on your arrival day, if you're coming from North America, you'll be arriving probably early in the morning on day one. We have a Argentine tour leader who will be joining us on this experience as well. And Fede knows the country backwards and forwards. While he's not a paleontologist, he is going to assist you in making sure that all the information that you need is provided to you in all the different destinations that we visit. He'll take you on an afternoon walk in the Palermo Soho neighborhood, which is one of the nicer neighborhoods in Buenos Aires, before a welcome dinner with an explanation of how the tour and everything like that is going to go. So moving on to the second and third days. On the second day, we'll do a full tour of the city of Buenos Aires, visiting all the important cultural and historical sites, including the Casa Rosada, which is the White House, if you will. It's actually the Pink House of Argentina. We will have a traditional Argentinian asado, which is a barbecue for lunch, and a dinner and a tango show in the evening. On the third day, you'll actually have some free time for most of the day in Buenos Aires, and Fede will be able to assist you with different activities you might want to do or different places you might want to see before a later in the day flight will take us down to Puerto Madryn, where we will begin the exploration of that area of the country.
I'm excited for the start of this. Buenos Aires is just an incredible city. I think it's going to make a really nice backdrop before we kind of throw ourselves out into the more wild regions of Patagonia. I'm very excited about that. And there's a few paleo surprises that will be woven in those first couple days as well. But you'll have to join us to find out what those are. All right, from there, we're heading on to the Peninsula Valdez. As I said, it's the more wildlife portion of the expedition. And we'll start it in the beach town of Puerto Madryn.
Yeah, so landing in Puerto Madryn, we actually have a quick overnight there before heading out to Peninsula Valdez. Now, Peninsula Valdez juts out into the Atlantic Ocean and is a really, really special place. The primary reason why it's very special is it's the primary breeding ground of the southern right whale. And we're going to be going at the peak of southern right whale breeding season. So what happens is that the whales, they migrate south and they come into this protected area to calve and they have their babies. And then you can actually see the whales teaching the younger whales how to swim, how to catch a breath, and how to basically live and to eat in this area. There's a few different ways that we can see the whales, both from land as well as an included boat experience where we'll be going out to see them. And so it's just really a super special time to be able to be there and to be able to have these whale experiences while we're out there. There's also a penguin colony on the northern part of the peninsula in Punta Norte, where you'll see the Magellanic penguins that you see there. We'll be staying at a local estancia on Peninsula Valdez for a night. So it's an amazing place to stay. It's also kind of arid and small plants, small bushes, but there's so much things to see. We're doing a fossil walk there as well as then the next morning on day 5, you'll be able to go down onto a beach and go for a walk. That's going to have elephant seals all over the beach. You obviously won't get too close to the elephant seals, but close enough to be able to. Honestly, you can hear them breathing, watch them interacting with each other, and on shore. So it's really a beautiful remote place. The stargazing there is also spectacular, and it kind of sets the scene for the beginning of our westward journey, and and talking about how this area has evolved over time to what it is now from what it was before, which was one of the largest jungles and forests that has ever existed on the planet.
I'm excited for this part. I think generally people who have appreciation for dinosaurs are also interested in our modern day wildlife. For me, I love big animals for some reason. Can't explain it, but the whales, the elephant seals, very excited. And I mean, who doesn't love penguins? It's going to be so fun to get out there. So now the wildlife portion, I think, is going to set a nice tone. We're going to see some animals on a giant scale, and yet they'll still pale in comparison to certainly the elephant seals will still pale in comparison to some of the dinosaur fossils we're going to be seeing. So, all right, that takes us up to the fossil portion of the expedition, the Patagonian Paleontology Trail, which I'll just introduce by saying, those other destinations, Buenos Aires, obviously a world-class city people know about. Peninsula Valdez, incredible wildlife. People go there and travel there. The Patagonian Paleontology Trail, those of us joining us on this expedition, you're kind of stepping into a little bit of a pioneering space now. This isn't something that many folks have done before, going out with the purpose of exploring for paleontology from a tourism perspective. So yeah, these aren't uncharted waters because Rich has charted them very well and comfortably for us, but they're certainly underexplored when it comes to what we're looking to accomplish out there. So we'll
So
start in Trelew. at the Museo Egidio Ferruglio, or MEF as they call it. And I'm going to stick with calling it MEF. So we'll that's the famous museum and kind of the centerpiece of the Patagonian Paleontology Trail, a great kicking off point for the fossil trail for us. And we'll have a private dinner with paleontologists at MEF. I've got a video coming up here that they put together for us. We were going to get them on live, but just the worry of the connectivity. We wanted you to get a good read on what this museum is. So it's a quick 7 minute or so video, just giving a tease. But is there anything else you wanted before we watch the video, Rich, that you wanted to add about our time at MEF?
No, I just wanted to say basically what we'll be doing on day 6 is that we'll be coming back from the Peninsula of Valdez to the MEF Museum, and enjoying a behind the scenes look and everything like that there. I'm not going to give too much more away from what's coming from the video, but when I was visiting there in March, this museum is brand new. And it was when I was there, it was still under construction and they were still building all the exhibits. And we'll be able to get a behind the scenes look into where they store a lot of the fossils and everything like that, and answer every and any question you might imagine. So why don't you dive into the good stuff before I get more logistics?
Hello, everyone. My name is Florencia, and I'm here with Carnotaurus at MEF in Trelew, Patagonia, Argentina. And let us show you, because I'm here with Matthias, my partner in crime here, and we will show you how is a bit of our museum and what can you expect when you visit us, and why our museum is so renowned in terms of paleontological investigations and researching, and why we are so famous because of our dinosaurs. Because here in Patagonia, we have an amazing fossil record. Our dinosaurs are strange and powerful, and we have one of the smallest dinosaurs in the world, Gasparinisaura and Manidens, and we have the largest dinosaur in the world, Patagotitan. So come in and let us show you our beloved museum. So we are a young museum in terms of museums. We have 30 years old, and we are in our new building right now. We have a big opening past November, and you will get to know our brand new exhibition. It's still under construction, some areas of the exhibition, but we are very happy with the new areas. So come on in. Well, here you have the main lobby and the main area. You will receive an introduction about geology and paleontology, and why paleontology is so important in Patagonia. You know, this site and this area of Trelew and the Chubut province is so important that the first geological map that was drawn in the history of natural history was drawn by Darwin. So that's how big we are in terms of geology and paleontology. So you will have here, you know, different areas, the coffee shop, the auditorium, where you can see documentaries, our documentary with BBC and David Attenborough, made out of all the full excavation of Patagotitan, and the biggest discovery and the largest dinosaur in the world. And so you have here all the big personalities and paleontology in Argentina and in the world, and our personal beloved geologist, Egidio Ferruglio. Our museum is named after him. He was an Italian geologist that came to Argentina in the early 20s and 30s, and he studied and prospected all the Patagonia area. So come with us to enter our traveling time. Our museum is not a traditional museum. You will not see, you know, glass boxes with old specimens all collected there. We love to tell stories, you know, so all our exhibition is a big story that goes from the present time to the Big Bang. So you will travel with us through all the evolution of Argentina, Patagonia, and Gondwana and Pangea from nowadays to 600 million years ago. You are going to enter our biggest hall in the new exhibition, and we are very proud of this hall because it gathers like a museum inside another museum. We have here some like very beloved fossils. So come on here. This area not only allows you to be here a lot of time, so you can enjoy every story, every fossil, every amazing new discovery. We have here, for example, a new dinosaur. It is a recent discovery. It actually is so new that it doesn't have a name yet. It's an Allosaurus, and it's very strange to find this kind of dinosaurs in the southern hemisphere. So it's like a hidden gem. And we are one of the biggest, fossil workshops and collections in Argentina and in South America. But as I was telling you at the beginning of this tour, we have small dinosaurs, and we have also the largest dinosaur in the world, Patagotitan. As you can see, the head of Patagotitan is on the top of the first floor, and the tail is touching the other side of the building. So it actually, the length of this dinosaur is almost 40 meters long. It's like half a block. And it's very special for us, and for you, I guess it could be very special because you can also have your welcome dinner here under Patagotitan's belly. Take a look. As you can see, this dinosaur is so massive, so big, that the lowest tip of the ribs is almost 3 meters high. So you can actually have your welcome dinner under Patagotitan's belly. Come on here. You can take an amazing selfie here in our portrait area, where you can measure yourself near a Patagotitan's fossil. This is one of the femurs found in Patagotitan's quarry, and it's up to almost 2.5 meters tall and almost 7 tons. I was thinking, the weight, 680 kilos. So it's one of the 3 femurs found, and it's our selfie spot. And we have many other rooms, but you need to visit us. You need to come here and witness the amazing story of our planet. And you need to witness here in Patagonia how the book of the history of life is, open for you, so you can read it and have fun. Hello, everyone. My name is...
All right, there, a little technical difficulties, but I'm back. So that was just a preview of what to expect from MEF, or however anyone wants to say it. I was saying MEF up until we did the video where she was saying MEF, but just a fantastic museum. I'm really excited to get in there. And as you heard Florencia say, we'll be having our welcome dinner to the Patagonian Paleontology Trail portion of the expedition under the Patagotitan. They'll set us up there. We'll be with the paleontologist. It's when I created Dinosaur Trips a couple of years ago, I think having dinner with all of you and some paleontologists under the Patagotitan was kind of the dream. And so very excited that we're going to be doing that this fall. Really looking forward to it. And as I said, that was just a taste of there'll be a longer version of that video actually that I'll put up on YouTube if you want to watch the whole thing. But even that is only a small percentage of what we'll be experiencing when we actually get down there. Because we'll be going behind the scenes as well, as Rich was mentioning. So Rich, you've had a chance to actually go on the Patagonian Paleontology Trail, one of the true pioneers of this. What can we expect for our days 7, 8, and 9 as we get out there across the Badlands of South America?
Well, the first thing I want to say is a small anecdote of me sitting in a truck with our local operator and one of the paleontologists from MEF, and we drove out of Trelew, and it was very flat. There was wind turbines for a short period of time, and my untrained eye looked out over the landscape and saw very little to nothing. And we drove for about an hour, and I still was just wondering what was going on and what was I seeing. And then Nacho, Ignacio was his name, was the paleontologist from MEF. Nacho began talking, and within 20 minutes of him explaining what the landscape was, the different layers of rocks that I was looking at, the different periods of time that they were found, it changed the entire way that I spent the next 2 days looking at the landscapes and seeing what I found. I found myself absolutely blown away and fascinated by every different formation that we saw, every low rock that we saw, and just going into that imaginative space of understanding that in order for these titans to live, they needed to have food that was capable of sustaining them, especially the herbivores. And so this was before the Andes were born as a mountain range, a massive, massive forest landscape, and with rivers and lakes and oceans even covering this area. And what today was, as Zach described, an arid badlands, you go back into the ancient history of this area and driving through the different landscapes, the different time periods, with an explanation of what they are and what you're looking at along the way. So for me, it completely changed my viewpoint on what I was looking at and the interest that I had in what I was seeing. The area you go through, as Zach has described, is not it's not highly habited. There's not very many people that live there. There are lots of small holdings and farms that you kind of go through, but farms and lands being like they farm a little bit, but it's a very much just kind of maybe some lamb, some sheep roaming around and things like that. But this is the backyard of the MEF paleontologists. This is where they study and where they work and where their expeditions are. And going out and visiting, you can search if you'd like some of these highlights that you see there, but going out and visiting this area, we'll be stopping along the way. A lot of paleontology and a lot of the way that was described to me is going on walks and walking through areas, looking through rocks and fossils, walking up to different areas, looking at the sides of mountains that you'd see here to see the different layers and how geological formations are made. And then going to places where they have dinosaur bones that are actually in some places just lying out because they've collected some of the fossils there because there was a dig nearby in past years. There'll be any activity that they're doing or active activity that's going on at the time will be spoken about, and we'll try to visit as well. And then along the way, we'll be staying at three fairly basic but locally run properties and hotels. One is a winery as well, where they make their own wine. The distances, this is I would say, a road trip style experience over this time. And what I mean by that is that while the distances are not gigantic, I mean, you're looking at somewhere between about 200 to 230 kilometers in a day, but you'll be doing it over most of the day. So we'll go to a spot, walk around, see what we can find, and it's all led under the context and under the storytelling of the MEF paleontologists. All the properties have their own special charm to them, all with private facilities. So you'll be comfortable, but during this part of the trip, it is going to be a little bit more rugged because you are going to be in areas that are otherwise very much unvisited in this part of this world. Well, in the world in general. Piedra Pirata is a very interesting rock formation, which was the center of like a volcanic activity and a volcano a couple billion years ago, and is literally a 240-meter rock that shoots out of the earth with about a 100-meter base. So just marveling over that and contemplating that and understanding why that's there and where it came from is its own special experience as well. So really, this is an area of discovery and doing something that very few have done, which is crossing Argentina from the east to the west by land.
No, that's
So yeah.
yeah, and I'm glad, as you're saying, it's arid. These are dry areas, but we do have those wine tastings to quench our thirst at the end of the day. And also, with the anywhere where you're very dry, the skyscapes at night are something to behold. So, we'll be gazing at the rocks and taking all that in the day. Incredible vistas at night, and this is one of those places on Earth that really gives you a sense of how small you are, kind of literally next to animals like the Patagotitan and the other titanosaurs, but just, even in our space and time and history, against the millions of years piled up and just the scope of it all. So I think that's going to be something that's really fun to investigate through this part of the expedition.
Yeah, and the highway follows the Chubut River, which goes down through the whole area from the Andes back down to the ocean. And that's where the majority of people who live, any farming takes place along that area where they grow the wines and things like that. So it's a fascinating view into an area of the world that is now known as one of the hotbeds of finding fossils and different and ancient history. So it's a really special place and a special experience. And there'll be walks and hikes that are optional, available. It's really to your own how much you want to do and how active you want to be, and just seeing what you can discover. And I mean, even as I was walking through there, we were picking up rocks and things like that and found some plant fossils and things like that on some of the rocks. So it's really active and it's really exciting to be able to see what you can find there.
Right. So from the Badlands of Patagonia, we will then head into Bariloche. Take us through what to expect once we get into this a much more visited region of
Well,
Patagonia.
now, yeah. So on the last day, do have a longer driving day that day. So we're doing about 350 kilometers that day up into San Carlos de Bariloche, which is the kind of one of the main points on the Lake District in northern Patagonia. A beautiful town. It's green. It's lush. It's kind of in the Andes Mountains. They're well known for its chocolate and it's really a wonderful heart of culture along the side of the world, side of the road, but also natural history too, especially when it comes to the mountain ranges, to the lakes that are around there. So we have an included activity in the Circuito Chico, which is going to get us out into the Lake District, exploring some of the areas, do some sightseeing and around there, and seeing everything that we have to do. With an afternoon on day 10 at the Paleontological Museum. We are also, after multiple days of one night stops and being in a car and traveling around, we're going to give you a day, at least an afternoon, when you arrive there, to be free, do what you want to do. We don't have an included meal. Fede will optionally take you out, but just some space for you to like contemplate what you've just done, as well as maybe take some time for you if you're traveling with someone to go off and do your own thing. And then over the next couple of days, we do have a bit more space and free time as well. We have the full day included in Bariloche on day 10, and then on day 11, it's a day of optional activities. Excuse me, yeah, day 12 is a day of optional activities. So there's horseback riding that optional. You can go to Isla Victoria on a cruise and walk through the forest there. You might just want to spend your time in the town experiencing the city and everything like that. And this is a day where, yeah, as I said, that your leader will be able to assist you in organizing whatever you want to do, but gives you some space as well just to enjoy the town. The food culture in Bariloche and in Argentina in general is very special and something to experience. So whatever your interest may be at this time, you can then explore that on day 12 before then departing on day 13. And yeah, at the end of this journey, I mean, it will be a reflection from one of the largest cities in South America out to this wonderful whale experience into the heart of an arid but ancient area to see where the world's largest creatures ever known on the planet live, to a beautiful lakeside area with giant trees and beautiful chocolate and wine and things like that. So really a wonderful mix of everything that Argentina has to offer all in one trip.
And finishing it with a farewell feast as well. So we'll come together
Well,
for the final night, eat very, very well, drink well, and then go our separate ways the next day, wherever that might take you to. And if you are interested in furthering your adventure, because for some folks, well, most people who are headed down on this one, it's a long journey. And if you want to tack on more, you can talk to Rich and I about that. But that's that's a for future conversation. But yeah, for this one, I think it's really, I'm so happy with what myself and then working with Miro and Rich and his team put together here, because I think, a big thanks to Miro, it really reflects what we aim for on all of our Dinosaur Trips adventures, which is, yes, to get you into the heart of paleontology of the destination that you're going to, obviously, to give you that behind the scenes. What we're going to experience at MEF and out into the Patagonian Paleontology Trail is something very few people get to do on Earth. But then also, make sure that we've infused this with plenty of food and drink and culture and dance and music and everything else that the destination has to offer. So you get a nice balance of that. And I think the team really put together a fantastic itinerary for us here that's going to be a nice balance of all those things. So I'm really looking forward to it. Just wanted to quickly touch, a lot of the time the big question we get is what are the accommodations? Rich got into it a little bit there, saying, when we're out into the Patagonian Paleontology Trail piece, some of those accommodations will be a little bit more rustic, but certainly homey. But just talk us through kind of the variety, because we're really on the spectrum of accommodations throughout this journey, right, Rich?
yeah, it is a big range, and so we'll start at the beginning and the end in our major cities with Buenos Aires and in Bariloche. We're using four-star properties there that are very comfortable, well located, that are going to give you all the comforts that you would want while you're traveling. Moving into Peninsula Valdez area, we have a beautiful property in Puerto Madryn, which we won't unfortunately get to spend too much time because you're going to be getting out to see the whales before heading out to a traditional estancia. And then once we get onto the trail, onto the Patagonian Paleontology Trail in Trelew, it's going to be more basic accommodations because we're using the best available, with the opportunity to get you from place to place. All are family run, small owned, have their own special twists to them as well, including ones with a wonderful winery in it, and another one in Guajina, which is where you'll be spending 2 nights, which again is locally run and operated. So while it's not, and they'll be cooking for us as well when we go there too. So really, it's going to be making the best of everything that we have in the destination before then getting into the places where we have a little bit more softer landing. But as I said before, the accommodations will all have private facilities, private for either for your single if you're traveling, or if you're traveling with someone else for two people. We can offer double rooms or two rooms with two beds. So it will be absolutely comfortable and clean, of course. And but we will be having it'll be a little more basic while we go through places that have a lot less people that travel to them.
Those places, I mean, from my experience in this industry all these years, one thing I like about those spots off the beaten path are, when they're owner operated like that, you get some really special experiences with the people that own the place. As Rich said, they'll be cooking for us, pouring the wine, telling us stories about what it's like to live out in these areas, in the life. And, we didn't get into it much, and we'll dive into it, of course, on the expedition itself. But the gaucho culture of Argentina, the cowboy culture, their cowboy, it's a chance to learn all these stories, and learn a lot more, with the folks who are out in some of these pretty special areas. So to say, it runs the gamut, but certainly kicking off with comfort and finishing with comfort, as is the way, and some fun exploration in the middle there. All right, now down to the brass tacks. If you're interested, our rates are USD 9,990 per person. That's based on double occupancy. What that means is, of course, 2 people per room. If you are a solo traveler, we do have the single occupancy supplement available for you for $14.90. So that's a room to yourself. Or if you're a solo traveler and would be interested in sharing with somebody, then we can pair you up if somebody of the same gender is available. So reach out to us for that. We do have options right now for solo female traveler to join us in a double occupancy scenario. So if you are a solo traveler, that does not limit your ability to travel with us, either your single occupancy or to share a room. We've had many a solo traveler on our expeditions so far. And it's a great way to meet people, like-minded people who share these interests, share this curiosity. I know we've got at least one person on the call right now who has traveled with us before and can certainly speak to the camaraderie that you develop across one of these expeditions. It's a lot of fun, and for those who have never done a group trip before, what we'll say is we make sure that we built in time for you to go off on your own within this. Of course, when we're along the Patagonian Paleontology Trail, we'll be together for most of that in the cars and in the smaller accommodations. But we do want to make sure you have time for yourself. So you saw as we went through the itinerary, a good bit of free time built in there. But you do build really strong and fantastic friendships that are quite lasting. I know from the few experiences we've done out there now. And so you've also got on here the included and not included. So your arrival and departure transfers will be included. Your 12 nights accommodations, 12 breakfasts, 10 lunches, 10 dinners, all excursions, transportation, local guides, outside of those that were listed as optional. Your local Argentine guide throughout, your guided tours with the MEF paleontologist, internal airfare, so that's the flight from Buenos Aires, Puerto Madryn, your taxes, permits, and even your gratuities are included in this. What's not is the international airfare, so you'll have to get yourself to and from the start of the expedition. Meals not included in the itinerary, so those are mentioned as you look. And comprehensive travel insurance, including your cancellation, interruption, medical coverage, are not included either. So that's just quick for you. So thank you very much for your time. We can open it up to some questions, but if you're interested in joining us, you can simply email me, Zach@dinosaurtrips.com. Call that number. There's also the 1-800 number on the website, dinosaurtrips.com. You can email travel@dinosaurtrips.com. Or if you want to come right now, just message in the chat. We'll get you hooked up to join us. But we'll open it up here. We got a few minutes left. Thank you so much for your time this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, wherever it is that you're watching from. I appreciate it. But if there's any questions, feel free to just drop them in the chat. I know there was one earlier, and I saw you got to that, Rich, just about the group size. But I will mention for everybody what we're doing. This is small group departures. Dinosaur Trips always does small group. If we're not doing your own tailor-made just for you trip, it's small group. Why? Because it's my preferred way to travel personally, but also for the kind of things we're doing, you can't be coming off a bus with 30, 40 people getting off of it and going into the dig sites, going to the excavation sites. Behind the scenes in a museum is not usually big spaces. These are small laboratories. So what we do, we've got to make sure our groups are small. So this is 6 to 12 people will be on this particular expedition. And so it's a small, tight-knit group. And I got to say, we got really good people that come along on these expeditions. So would love to have you join us. This is going to be a really special one. So any questions? Otherwise... All right. Looks like we answered it all perfectly, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your time today. And yeah, we're excited to be operating this trip, and we look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, as I said, this will be recorded. We'll get it up. We'll send it out to you if you signed up. And so you can share it if you're trying to convince others to join you. And yeah, it'll be available as well if there's anything you didn't catch on the first watch, you can catch on rewatch. So thank you very much. Shoot us an email if you'd like to be joining. We'd love to have you out there. Until next, take care. And hopefully I'll see you down in Buenos Aires. All right. Bye-bye.